What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about the Winnipeg Jets and how important it is that they win Game 4. The Jets tied up the series at 2, came into Game 3 and fell 5-2. It was looking alright, they weren't playing maybe their best game ever until a controversial call went in to make it 3-2. We're talking about the kicking motion goal. Everybody's been talking about it for, last, 36 hours as I make this video. I'll touch on that in a second, but the Jets lose, and it wasn't good. They lose on the road. Connor Hellebuyck and the Jets, seemingly deflate in the third. A little bit different than the ones in St. Louis, I will say, but it was not a good showing. They weren't able to rally from the 3-2 goal. Again, I'll touch on this later, and they fall 2-1 in the series. Haven't won on the road yet in these playoffs, and Game 4 in Dallas can't go down 3-1. If you go down 3-1 against this team, you might as well pack it in. You might as well, clean out the locker rooms now, because this Dallas team is very good. Seems like they're going to get Miro Heiskanen back for Game 4 as well. It does seem like that's pretty possible. So, buckle up here, Jets. This is a big one coming up. Now, I do not like talking about the officiating in the NHL. I do not like it. I don't like to talk about it on here because it comes off as whiny. And, there are some stuff that I see during games that I'm like, wow, you know what? I think they got that one wrong. But I really don't like to get too much into it because I know that it goes both ways, right? I know the league's not out to get the Winnipeg Jets. I know the league's not out to get the Dallas Stars. But the officiating, just straight up, sometimes in the NHL is poor. Some of the decisions that the league makes is poor. And I think they made a couple of them. The 3-2 goal against the Jets was a little bit weird. The distinct kicking motion from Petrovic wasn't called kicking motion on the ice. Now, I didn't think that goal was going to get disallowed when it originally happened, but then they kept talking about it. And, with the kick, it went off Connor Hellebuyck's paddle and in. And they said that he directed it in, I guess. But, when you look at the rule book, it says it doesn't matter if it hits the goaltender's stick. So I don't really know, what the situation is with that. I think that's kind of weird that, it hit Connor Hellebuyck's stick and still went in the net, but, they said that he redirected it. I don't know. It's all weird. It's all very murky. And I thought it seemed kind of strange just at the time. I thought it was kind of a weird thing. They looked at it for, I think it was over 8 minutes. But then Elliot Friedman on 32 Thoughts pretty much says that, the league didn't want to make the refs feel slighted or anything like that. They wanted them to be a part of this, so they just allowed the goal anyway. And just, disregarded the rule book in a way, right? So, that's fine in game 25 of the regular season. I don't care. I really don't care. But, when you're in the playoffs, you should be trying to get the call right. And, if you think the call was right, all the power to you. But I don't think this one should have counted. I don't think it makes a difference. I think the point is moot because, immediately after that, Mikko Rantanen comes down, dances through the whole team and scores. If you're the Jets, you can't do that. That absolutely cannot happen, and they deserve to lose that game. And I'm not saying that, that call would have changed anything, but I am saying that, if you're in the playoffs, if you have a booth specifically to review these kinds of things in Toronto, if you're not going to use it, then why even look at it? Why waste 8 minutes of the game doing that, right? So that's just my point there. The other one that, was being talked about was Mason Marchment. Didn't get the call, definitely should have, as Mark Scheifele kind of, speared him going through the middle of the neutral zone there. And he slashed referee Graham Skiltzer. And I thought that was kind of crazy. We've seen Antoine Vermette in the past in 2017 slash a referee. Definitely a little bit more anger in that one. But he got 10 games. Mason Marchment got 0 because, Graham Skiltzer said that he didn't feel that it was, that mean enough, I guess. I don't know. Didn't qualify as abuse of an official. But there's no reason, under any circumstances, to touch the official. I'm a little bit surprised the NHL didn't do anything. I know maybe they couldn't because Skilter didn't, file that report as abusive to the official. And if that's how he felt, then hey, who am I to be talking about this right now? But I do think it's weird that the NHL didn't say anything or do anything. Maybe they did send a memo out in private, I don't know. But, 8-year-olds know not to touch the referees. the pros should too. So I thought that was a little unprofessional by Marchment. I understand being upset, but you can't touch the ref, man. Come on. But, any contact of abusive official in the rule book is, subjected to automatic discipline. I don't understand why there wasn't any discipline. I'm not looking for any discipline, but I'd hope if anybody touched the referees on any team, my team included, my Winnipeg Jets, that something would happen, because that can't happen. But I am done talking about all this. I'm tired of talking about this, because at the end of the day, neither of these things matter at its core. The Winnipeg Jets, I firmly believe, were going to lose that game either way. They were not trending very well. Yes, they tied that game up at 2, but they were not playing one of the best games of their lives. They were 0 for 4 on the power play, missed a ton of chances to, really put themselves in the driver's seat, refused to capture momentum, and the Dallas Stars, pounced on them. Mikko Rantanen looks like a world beater right now. They're not going to shut Rantanen down. They need to find a way to slow him down. No one else on that team right now is really flying. It is Mikko Rantanen's team. It is Mikko Rantanen's world, and right now it's felt like the Jets are just living in it. All this doom and gloom, however, and they're only down 1 game in the series. This is Game 4. This is the most important Game 4, and the Jets are going to have to do something that they haven't done the entire playoffs this year and win on the road. Every single road game that they've had, they have collapsed at some point. This cannot happen this time. Connor Hellebuyck, you need to be the man. Kyle Connor, you need to be a star. Everybody else needs to be chipping in and play the game of their lives today, because if they don't, there's a great chance that they will be packing their bags this week. I really don't want to see that happen. I want to see the Jets go far here, so if there's any time to get behind your Winnipeg Jets, now's the time, baby, because they need it. Connor Hellebuyck, we need a legacy game from you. I'm begging you. We need Hart Trophy Connor Hellebuyck back. If you could post another shutout, that would be much appreciated. But everybody needs to be playing better. The power play needs to be better. And just overall, everybody needs to find another gear here. Because if they don't, like I said before, it's going to be a mighty, mighty deep hole to dig out of. But I believe in these Winnipeg Jets. They've come back from adversity every single time this season. They've looked great. Every time they need to rise to a challenge, they have risen to it. And I firmly believe that they can do this. So Game 4, must-win game on the road. Time to tune out the noise and go in there, pick up a win. But that's all I got today, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. As always, leave a comment down below. What do you think is going to happen in Game 4? Are the Jets going to bounce back, or are they going to fall to the 3-1 hole? I want to hear from you guys. Let me know if you have any comments about the Marchment slash or the goal that was allowed. I want to hear from you guys about that as well. But leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Game 4 is a big one. Everybody better be seated for that one. See you guys in the next one. Go Jets, go! Bye-bye.